I'm Hazel Khumalo, born in Bulawayo, raised in Harare. I think, dream, and speak in English. I have no idea why.
Does your daughter speak Ndebele?
No. My daughter takes after me. I'm not proud of this. My daughter speaks English. She speaks, her Shona is more fluent than her Ndebele, although she hides that she speaks Shona. Also, I think because she has a similar background, how I raised her, the schools that she went to, just then forced her to have English as a primary language. And also because I was married to half South African, half Malawian, the language in the house was English. That was a common language. yeah. But ironically, my son, who's had development challenges, he's the one I expected to be speaking in one language. He speaks all languages, all three languages, Ndebele, Shona, and English.
He's the older one? Or
he's the youngest one. He's 6. The difference that I see between him and my daughter is that he knows who speaks what language and he speaks to that person. So it could be the three of us here. You speak English, you speak Shona, that one speaks Ndebele. He'll come and speak to all of you in your languages.
Hazel, tell me about your experience when you had your first child.
It was the most nerve-wracking experience, but beautiful at the same time. I was in South Africa, so I was far away from my mom. But I was blessed to have my mother-in-law, who came to help me. Although she only came after I gave birth, and so did my mom. The two ladies actually worked together very well to help me with the baby. The only issue that we have, we call it Ukucolwa, Masungiro, we say. Ukucolwa. So when you give birth and you go to your parents' home, Ukucolwa, so as a woman that's given birth, you're called Umdlezane. So with them around, they helped me quite a bit. I did rest. I had a C-section, so I really needed the help. The only issue that we kind of had was the conflict of cultures. So my mom and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law she's South African. She's South African, but married to a Malawian. So they had this cultural practice. My mom is a Christian on the other hand. So there are things that are done to the baby before when they're born, like cutting your hair, what you call this, talking look, this black stuff.
We don't have that. We don't have the Shona culture.
These black things. My husband's side of the family believed in those kind of things, and my side of the family, we're Christians, so we don't have those practices.
How did you cope?
I was lucky that my mom was there. She did quite a bit of the shielding. The only thing that they did that was cultural was just cutting off my daughter's hair. So it was quite difficult being away from home, because my mom was only there for like 3 weeks, and then she had to go back. I had to then take on the burden of taking care of my daughter on my own after that.
You say you have a daughter. Would you like her to go through the Ukucolwa process? Or maybe the modern kind of mom, you don't mind whatever they do in their own house?
Oh, no. She must go through that process. I'll be a grandmother for the first time. So definitely, I'd love to see my first grandchild. But also, I felt it was very important because when I gave birth to my daughter, I had no idea. I remember walking out of the hospital and I was holding this baby, and I just thought to myself, what am I going to do with this child? I don't even know how to wash it. And it just helped having older women around me and family around me. So definitely, and there are a lot of cultural things that you actually get to learn when we have a family together, and things that I would have never known. I learned through that process, yeah.